everybody, how are you doing today? So, we are on chapter 8. This is all about the competitive global market. So, we're going to talk about that today. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Quizlet, but I do like to do Quizlet a lot of times. This was chapter 8, competition markets. So, the setting in which the seller finds itself. Market structures are defined by the characteristics such as the number of sellers in the market, product that sellers produce and sell, and how easy or difficult it is for the firms to enter the market. What word is that? Market structure. Perfectly competitive market, how would we define that? A market structure characterized by many buyers and sellers. All firms selling identical goods, all relevant information about buying and selling, activities available to buyers and sellers, and for easy entry into and easy exit out of market. What is a price taker? Price taker is a seller that can sell all of its output at the equilibrium price, but can sell none of the output at any other price. Monolistic market. Market structure characterized by a single seller, the sale of a product that has no close substitutes, and 3 extremely high barriers to entry. What is a barrier to entry? Anything that prohibits a firm from entering a market. Price searcher. What is price searcher? It is a seller that can sell some of the outputs at various prices. What is public franchise? A right guaranteed to a firm by government that permits the firm to provide a particular good or service and excludes all others from doing so. Natural monopoly is a firm with such a low average total cost per unit cost that only survive the market. Okay. And now we have here is competitive firms and markets. George Bernard Shaw said, the love of money is the root of virtue, called virtue. In this, we're looking at the rising cost of keeping on trucking, perfect competition, profit maximization, competition in the short run, competition in the long run, and challenge solution. So right here we have background. In recent years, federal and state fees have increased substantially, and truckers have had to adhere to many new regulations. The many additional fees and costly regulations that a trucker or firm must pay to operate are largely lump sum costs which are not related to the number of miles driven. Questions. What effect do these new fixed costs have on the trucking industry's market price and quantity? Are individual firms providing more and fewer trucking services? Does the number of firms in the market rise or fall? Market structure. Market structure provides information about how firms operating in the market will behave. It's a function of the number of firms in the market, the ease in which firms can enter and leave the market, the ability of firms to differentiate their products from those other virals. Perfect competition is one type of market structure in which buyers and sellers choose to be price takers. A firm is unable to sell as output at a price greater than market price. A consumer is unable to purchase at a price less than the market price. This is what most people mean when they talk about competitive firms. Perfect competition is a market structure in which there are large numbers of firms. Firms sell identical products. Buyers and sellers have full information about prices charged by all firms. Transaction costs, the expenses of finding a trading partner and completing the trade above and beyond the price, are low. Firms can freely enter and exit the market. Examples: agriculture, commodities, markets like wheat and soybeans, building and construction. Perfect competition and assumptions. 1. Large number of firms. No single firm's actions can raise or lower the price. Individual's firm demand curve is a horizontal line at the market price. Identical, homogeneous products. If all firms are selling identical products, it's difficult for any firms to raise the price above going to market price charged by all firms. Full information, consumer knowledge of all firm prices makes it easy for consumers to buy elsewhere if one firm raises price above market price. Negotiable transaction costs. Buyers and sellers waste little time or money finding each other. Free entry and exit leads to a large number of firms and promotes price taking. Competitive firm demand. Are perfectly competitive firms' demand curves really flat? A firm's residual demand curve, D to the R power times P, is a portion of the market demand that's not met by other sellers at any given price. D to the R times P equals D times P minus S times P. D times P is market demand. S times P is amount supplied by other firms. If not perfectly horizontal, the residual demand curve is an individual firm is much flatter than the market demand. We have competitive firm demand. Right here, this is per metal chair. We have thousands metal chairs per year. We have per metal chair, 1,000 metal chair per year. We have profit maximization. The student trying to come in the classroom. Fi John Chong. Hi. Okay, you're always welcome to pop in to the class, but sometimes I don't know if I'm going to have it exactly at a certain time because I'm in Texas. Okay, so profit maximization. Profit maximization in this class always refers to economic profit, which is revenue minus opportunity cost, differs from business profit, which only subtracts off the explicit cost of the revenues. Optimizing profit involves two important questions. Output decision. If the firm produces, what output level Q maximizes its profit or minimizes the loss. Shutdown decision. It's profitable to produce Q or shut down and produce no output. Profit maximization output rules. A firm can use one or three equivalent output rules to choose how much output to produce. A firm sets the output where its profit is maximized. A firm sets its output where the marginal profit is 0. A firm sets its output where marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. Output rule number 1, number 2 are easily depicted in a single graph. Here's the graph right here. Output rules, number 1, maximum profit, number 2, 0 marginal profit, both point to Q. Profit maximization output rules, output rule number 3, marginal revenue. Marginal cost is less obvious on previous graph. Mathematically, if we were to differentiate between the pi to the q equals r to the q and c to the q with respect to the output and set equal to 0, output rule is number 2. We find it. Profit maximization shutdown rule. A firm shuts down only if it can reduce its loss by doing so. Shutting down means the firm stops producing and thus stops receiving revenue and stops paying avoidable costs. Only fixed costs are avoidable because they are sunk costs. Firms compare revenue to valuable cost when deciding whether to stop operating. Shutting down may be temporary. The shutdown decision to the short run decision because of the long run costs are avoidable. Competition in the short run, given the general description of the firm's profit maximization decisions, how do perfectly competitive firms maximize profits in the SR? Because it faces horizontal demand curve, a competitive firm can sell as many units as output as it wants in the market price P. Revenue is R to the Q. PQ, thus Q satisfies D pi times Q over DQ. DPQ over DQ equals DC to the Q multiply Q over DQ equals P minus MC times Q equals 0. Marginal cost equals the market price. MC equals P. And equivalent to MC equals MR because MR equals P in a competitive competition. So given the general description of the firm's profit maximization decisions, how perfectly competitive firms maximize profits in the SR. Because it faces a horizontal demand curve, a competitive firm can sell as many units as outputs as it wants in the market price P. Revenue is R to the Q equals PQ, thus Q satisfies. Marginal cost equals the market price. MC equals P is equivalent to MC equals MR because MR and the P is perfect competition. Here's competition in the short run. Profit is maximized by Q or revenue minus the cost is greatest. In competition in short run, we have profit is the rectangle. Competition short run, we have the graph as the previous slide doesn't show us the address of the firm's shutdown decision. You can recall the firm's compare revenues to the variable cost to determine shutdown. If you take a basic economics class, or maybe even if you took like a microeconomics, a macroeconomics, then this looks familiar to you. The shutdown if the market price is less than the minimum of the SR average variable cost curve. Thus, the graphical analysis of the firm profit maximization decisions require a ABC curve to address the shutdown decision. The short run decision, the AC, then firm operates but not at loss. Short run firm supply curve, firms will choose to produce as long as the market price is above the ABC minimum. So that's where the firm supply curve begins. As we consider higher and higher market prices, the horizontal firm demand curves rises and intersects MC at the higher and higher quantities. In the fashion, the relationship between the market price and the profit maximization quantity is traced out. This is perfectly competitive firm's curve. Short run firm supply curve, the S is section of MC above the minimum ABC. The short run curve supply, if the prices of the inputs factors prices increase, a firm's production costs rise and supply shifts left. Short-run market supply, identical firms. The market supply curves are the original sum of the firm's supply curves. The market supply curve is a horizontal sum of the firm's supply curves. The market short-run competitive equilibrium. The market equilibrium point E indicates a price faced by the individual firm and therefore the profit maximizing quantity. Competition in the long run. Long run output decision. Firm chooses the quantity, maximizes the profit using same rules as SR, and MC equals MR. Long run shutdown decision, because all costs are variable in the LR. The firm shuts down would offer and suffer the economic loss to continue to operate. Geographically relevant shutdown point is the minimum of the LR average cost curve. Long run firm supply curve, the firm reduces more than the SR. In the SR, 110 units instead of just 50 units, and the firm earns a higher profit at the LR than SR, and A plus B instead of just A. As the SR and the LR competitive market supply is horizontal sum of individual firm supply curves, the LR firms that enter the exit the market, so the number of firms is not fixed as the SR. A firm enters the market if the long run profit, and a firm exits the market to avoid a long run loss. With identical firms, free entry into the market and consistent input prices with LR, the market supply curve is flat at the minimum LRAC. Then we have identical firms, free entry into the market, and consistent input prices. 3 scenarios in which LR market supply is not flat. The LR market supply when entry is limited, the upward sloping if government restricts number of firms need scarce resource if entry is costly. The LR market supply is when the firms differ. Upward sloping of the firms relative to the low minimum, LRAC. They're willing to enter the market at lower prices than others. And the LR market supply when the input prices vary with output. In the increasing cost market, output prices raise with output, and the LR market supply is upward sloping. In the decreasing cost market, input prices fall with output, and LR market supply is downward sloping. Then right here you have some equilibrium occurs in the intersection of the LR market demand and LR supply, which is different than the SR market supply. Challenge solution here, increase the fixed cost regulatory complex over for long run effects. Average total cost of the representative trucking company increases, shifts AC to AC2, and each trucking company provides a greater amount of service. Q1 to Q2 and market quantity decreases. Q1 to Q2, the number of trucking companies decreased to N1 to N2. Okay, this one is global marketing. We have learning objectives. We want to describe components of the country market assessment. And we have learning objectives here, understand marketing opportunities to the BRIC countries. And we have identify the various market entry strategies and highlight the similarities and differences between domestic marketing strategy and global market strategy. We have assessing global markets, general economic environment, market size, population growth, real income, economic analysis using metrics, infrastructure and technology, transportation channels, communication, commerce, government actions, tariff, quota, exchange control, and trade agreement. Social cultural analysis, we have power distance, uncertainty avoidance, individualism, masculinity, and time orientation. Economic analysis, general economic environment, gross domestic product, purchasing power party, gross national income, and human development index. Evaluating market size and population growth rate, population 2002, population 2050. Evaluating real income, firms can make adjustments to existing product or change the price to meet the unique need of a particular country market. Analyzing infrastructure and technological capabilities. Marketers are especially concerned with the 4 key elements of the country's infrastructure: transportation, distribution channels, communication, and commerce. Analyzing governmental actions we have governmental actions, tariffs, trade agreements, exchange control, and quotas. Analyzing social cultural factors, culture, power distance, uncertainty avoidance, individuality, masculinity, time orientation, indulgence. Appeal for the BRIC countries, great potential for growth in the global community, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Progress check here. What metrics can help analyze the economic environment of a country? What types of governmental actions would we be concerned about if we evaluate our country? What are some important cultural dimensions, and why are each of the BRIC countries viewed as potential candidates for global expansion? Choosing global entry strategy, control, and risk. We have export, franchising, strategic alliance, joint venture, and direct investment. Progress check, which global entry strategy has the least risk and why? And which global entry strategy has the most risk and why? Choosing global market strategy, target market STP, more complicated than domestic STP. Subcultures, cultural nuisances, view of product and consumer role, different positioning, adaptation, and single positioning strategy. The global marketing mix, product or service strategies, sell the same product or service in both home and country market and host country, sell a product or service similar to that sold in a home country but include minor adaptations, sell totally new products and services. Global marketing mix, pricing strategies, anti-dumping policies, quotas, tariffs, economic conditions, and competitive factors. Global marketing mix, the global distribution strategies. Some global channels are very long and complex, and consumers shop at small family-owned stores. Suppliers must be creative in delivering out these outlets. The global marketing mix, global communication strategies, literacy levels vary by country. Firms choose whether to adapt to language differences, cultural and religious differences also matter. What are the components of a global marketing strategy? What are the 3 global marketing strategies in the end? Okay. Okay, time for us to take a little break. Okay, I don't know why my time. Let me do my online stopwatch. I don't know why this other timer is not working, so we'll just do this one. This one works good too. All right, we're back. All right, we're talking about foreign direct investments. Oops, sorry, didn't share it. Let me try it again. Okay, foreign direct investments. Foreign direct investment, the FDI occurs when a firm invests directly in new facilities to produce or market in a foreign country. Once a firm undertakes the FDI, it becomes a multinational enterprise. FDI is undertaken by firms so that they can take advantage of the resources that are either available to the home country or become these resources are available at cost lower than those in their home country. The firm has significant control over the foreign operation and can affect managerial decisions of the foreign operation. It usually involves participation in management, joint venture, transfer of technology, and expertise. Oh no, I'm sorry. I went to a commercial by accident. Okay. The types of the FDI. By direction, inward FDI, outward FDI, by target, greenfield investment, mergers and acquisition, and joint venture. The forward FDI. In forward FDI is an economy that can be defined as capital provided from a foreign direct investor residing in a country to that of the economy which is residing in another country. Here, investment of foreign capital occurs in local resources. Flow of inward FDI may face restrictions for factors like the restraint of the ownership and disparity of the performance standard. Example is General Motors decides to open a factory in Malaysia. They're going to invest in some capital. This capital is inward by FDI from Malaysia. The forward FDI, when investment is made by a domestic country in foreign country, and that's the outflow of the FDI from domestic country to foreign country. Foreign direct investment, which is outward, is also referred to as direct investment abroad. The outward FDI faces restrictions under a host of factors as described below. Industrial related to defense are often set outside the purview of the outward FDI to retain government's control over the defense-related industrial complex. Subsidy scheme targeted at local businesses and government policies which tend to support the phenomenon of industry nationalization. The FEMA guidelines and outward FDI, Indian companies can set up 100% subsidiary abroad, joint venture abroad. How much investment? Max outward FDI restricted 3 times the net worth per last audited balance sheet. Subscribed share capital of foreign country. Outward remittances to foreign country to describe to share capital or and export machinery, manpower, management, or and export of technological know-how. No restrictions on the preparation of the profits, and the ECBI are raised outward FDI. The FIPB. FIPB is the Ministry of Commerce. Commerce Ministry chairperson is chairman of the FIPB. Application on plain paper along with the project report to be submitted to the FIPB. FIPB power sanction up to R600 cores. Project of more than 600 cores will go to the CCFI or the IMP. The greenfield investment, here's an example, a firm of foreign direct investment where a parent company starts a new venture in a foreign country by constructing new operational facilities from the ground up. In addition to building new facilities, the most parent companies also create a new long-term jobs in foreign country by hiring new employees. Developing countries often offer prospective companies tax breaks, subsidies, and other types of incentives to set up greenfield investments. Governments often see that losing corporate tax revenues is a small price to pay if the jobs are created and knowledge and technology is gained in the boost of companies' human capital. A related term to greenfield investment is very popular is brownfield investment, where a site previously used as dirty business purpose, such as a steel mill or oil refinery, is cleared up and used in a less polluting purpose, such as commercial office space or residential area. Mergers and acquisition. Horizontal. A merger in which two firms of the same industry combine, often in an attempt to achieve economies of scale or scope. Vertical. A merger is which one firm acquires a supplier or another firm that's closer to the existing customers, often in an attempt to control supply or distribution channels. Conglomerate, a merger in which two firms in related business combine. Purpose and often to diversify the company by combining unrelated assets and income streams. Cross-border international M&As, a merger acquisition involving an Indian or foreign firm either acquiring or target company. Joint venture. Joint venture is here defined as a shared ownership in foreign business. Some advantages of the M&E working with the local joint venture partner are better understanding of local customers, mores, and institutional government, providing a capable and mid-level management. Some countries don't allow 100% foreign ownership. Local partners have their own contracts and reputation aids in business. However, joint ventures are not common as 100% owned foreign subsidies as a result of potential conflicts or difficulties. Importance of the FDI. FDI provides ready resource to the growth of the economy. For capital-started country, the FDI could be boom. Generating funds initially may require much time, and the FDI is motivated by long-term profit considerations of the investors. The enhanced money inflow from overseas means that the country can import more goods that are basic to the building of the economy. This is particularly important for developing countries. The FDI acts as a nucleus around which the businesses can grow. For example, Toyota Motors has established their automobile plants in India, and they source fraction of the parts from local firms. Advantages of the FDI. Foreign direct investment plays a pivotal role in the development of India's economy. It's an integral part of the global economic system. FDI ensures a huge amount of domestic capital, production level, and employment opportunities in the developing countries, which is a major step towards the economic growth of the country. Foreign direct investments open a wide spectrum of opportunities in the trading goods and services of India, both in terms of import and exportation production. FDI also ensured a number of employment opportunities by aiding the setting up of industrial units in various corners of India. Disadvantage is the FDI. One of the most important advantages of the foreign direct investment is the initial economically backward section of the host country is always unconvinced when a stream of foreign direct investment is negatively affected. The differences of language and culture that exist between the country of the investor and the host country could also pose problems in the case of foreign direct investment. Adverse effects of the balance of payments, which the foreign subsidiary imports a substantial number of inputs from abroad. There's a debt in the current account of the host country's balance of payments. Trends of the FDI. There's been marked increase of both the flow and the stock of the FDI in the world economy over the last 30 years. FDI has grown more rapidly than the world trade and the world output because the general shift towards democratic political institutions and free market global economies has encouraged the FDI. Globalization of the world economy is having a positive impact on the volume of FDI. Firms undertake the FDI. FDI and economic development. Foreign direct investment, FDI, is considered to be a lifeblood and important vehicle of the economic development as far as the developing nations are concerned. The important effect of the FDI is its contribution to the growth of the economy. FDI's impact on the country's trade balance, increasing labor standards and skills, transfer of new technology and innovative ideas, improving infrastructure, skills, and general business climate. FDI also provides opportunity for technological transfer up to graduation, access, global managerial skills and practice, optimal utilization of human capabilities, natural resources, making industry internationally competitive, opening up export markets, providing backward and forward linkages, and access to international quality goods and services. Types of FDI incentives. Fiscal incentives to reduce tax burdens of foreign investors. Financial incentives, grants given by government. Other incentives, like subsidized infrastructure, market preference, preferential foreign exchange rates. FDI and FII. Both the FDI and the FII is related to investment in a foreign country. FDI, or foreign direct investment, is investment of a parent company makes in foreign country. On the contrary, F22 and foreign instructional investor is investment made by investor in the market of a foreign nation. F11 companies only need to get registered at the stock exchange to make investments, but the FDI is quite different from the key investment in foreign nation. The foreign industrial investor is also known as hot money, as the investors have liberty to sell it and take it back. If foreign direct investment is possible, foreign direct investment is considered to be more stable than foreign institutional investor. FDI policy in India. Foreign direct investment, FDI, has become an integral part of the national development strategies in almost all the countries globally. Its global popularity and positive output is augmenting the domestic capital, productivity, and employment is made an indispensable tool for initiating economic growth for nations. India is evolving as one of the most favored institutions for FDI in Asia and Pacific. The APAC is displaced the U.S. in the second most favored destination of foreign direct investment, FDI, in the world after China. FDI in India has contributed effectively to overall growth of the economy in recent times. FDI inflow has an impact on India's transfer of new technology and innovative ideas, improving infrastructure, competitive business environment. FDI policy. India has among the most liberal and transport policy of the FDI among the emerging economies. FDI output to 100% is allowed under the automatic route of all investors except for following require prior approval of the government. Manufacturing of tobacco products and substitutes. Manufacture of electrical, aerospace, and defense equipment. Manufacturing of items exclusively meant for small-scale industries with more than 24% FDI. Proposal in which foreign collaborator has existing joint venture technology transfer, trademark in India in some fields. FDI policy continued. An ongoing review of the FDI policies carried out to initiate more liberalization. Change in sectoral policy, sectoral equity gap is noted from time to time through press notes. This is done by the Secretariat of Industrial Alliance Assistance, SIA, in the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. Policy announcement by SIA are subsequently notified by the RBI under the FEMA. The FDI policy permits the FDI up to 100% from foreign NRI investor without prior approval in most sectors, including the services sector, under automatic route. FDI in sectors and activities under automatic route does not require any prior approval, either by the government or the RBI. The investors are required to notify the regional office concerned with the RBI of receipt of inward remittances within 30 days of such receipt. They will have to file the required documents once they are in the office for 30 days after the issue shares foreign investors. Prohibited sector under the FDI. FDI is not permissible with the following cases: gambling, betting, lottery business, business of a chit fund, housing and real estate business, atomic energy, agriculture, plantation activities, plantations other than tea plantations, retail sector. We have industrial license policies. Industrial licenses are regulated under Industries Development Regulations in 1951, and requirements of industrial license has been progressively reduced. At present, industrial license for manufacture is required only in the following industries retained under compulsory licensing. Items reserved for small-scale sector, and industrial undertaking is defined as a small-scale unit in the capital investment in plant and machinery does not exceed the Rs. 10 million. A small-scale unit is not more than 24% equity and a paid-up capital of any industrial undertaking, either foreign or domestic. Yeah. Example in India. Sectors attracting the highest FDI inflows. In India, they have service sector, computer, software, hardware, telecommunications, housing, real estate, construction activities, power, automobile industry, agricultural industries, petroleum and natural gas, and chemicals. Maldives, Singapore, USA, UK, Netherlands, Japan, Cyprus, Germany, UAE, and France. Thank you. Okay, well, that concludes today. Make sure you write your summary, and I will talk to everybody soon. Bye.